All right, let's see. We're live. Hopefully, we'll be coming up here in a minute. Need to check our microphone. We had some issues here. Let's see. Need to microphone. Hey. All right, so I guess we're live. We're ready. So my iPad was just telling me that we weren't working. It wouldn't let me go through the checks. So here we are.
I don't like it this close to me.
Why? So tonight's episode is about There's Still Hope for America. And I'm Bobby.
And I'm Tiffany.
My lovely, beautiful host. What?
You're sucking up.
Like, I give you a compliment and you give me these crazy looks. What is wrong with you?
Thank you, babe.
Thank you. So, I mean, we don't have anybody watching anyway. We just talk to ourselves sitting here. Or we talk to the garland pillow or the dinosaur in the corner.
Dingo.
So, that diffuser is going. It smells really good. All right, Tiff. So, what did you do today?
I woke up
Early
for a Saturday, yeah.
Sunday.
God. Yeah. Yep, need to go to bed. Good night. Thanks for watching.
So we got up early and
we managed 9 people. I really cannot handle looking at me this close, like seriously. Anyways, we managed 9 people to get ready in our tiny house.
Yeah.
And we were only an hour and 15 minutes late.
Behind.
Not late, behind.
Yeah.
Getting to our...
Because we were still an hour early than what we're normally at church.
But we were still actually an hour and 45 minutes early for church.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can make this work in our favor. And how many? It was 1, 2, 3, 5 teenagers. Of the 9 people,
Woo!
5 of them were teenagers.
Oh, man. And we definitely needed to be in the house of the Lord today because the teenage attitude was strong with a couple.
One specifically. We won't mention any names.
So tonight we're talking about hope for America, or there's still hope. Mainly because we saw a group of young folks this morning. We had Youth Sunday at church, and man, it was incredible to be able to see them be able to run an entire church service.
Yeah. Yep.
To do everything from greeters and ushers, even making sure that security measures were still in place.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed because the adults, we kind of had that stuff together anyway, but one guy was like, hey, what about this? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? I was like, sweet.
Looks like you.
Yeah. Go ahead, handle it. And I was able to delegate a little more. So that being done, just the whole service, the offering, the worship, the testimony, the preaching, and even had a baptism this morning. Just so incredible. Mm-hmm. And to see them, and of course, we're our own. We've got a kid that's in turmoil over there.
Back.
Mom, all day long. So anyway, just to see the teenagers and think about all the things that they struggle with and all the things that are going on in their lives, to be able to resist the the pull on their popularity and who they are, because I was a teenager once.
What?
long time ago, but to think about all the influences and all the struggles of being a teenager, but then pushing through and being involved, being immersed into a church, and the things of God is just it blows me away. and to be able to baptize a young teenager, like, it's just so incredible. I was blown away today. Like the young lady that I got to baptize, she's like a daughter to me, and just it's just hard to really describe it without leaking. you know, and to see the commitment that they have, and being able to just let the things of God pour from their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about the worship?
The worship, I thought they did great. They thought it was a train wreck, which every Sunday I get up there and I feel like it's a train wreck.
I kind of saved that because I was going to talk about it a while ago, and they're their own worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
They always
Well,
think that they're the worst.
Yeah.
And being impressionable, being very influential, and that time of their life, then you want everything to be perfect.
Right.
Being a teenager, everything has to be just right, or it's the end of the world.
Right. And I feel like, they did awesome, especially considering our bass player. This was his first gig.
Yeah, right.
Our drummer.
Yep.
Same. He just picked up drumsticks less than a month ago. So did the bass player. Yep. So, I thought for them to, and they worked really hard. They practiced a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, they did put a lot of time in.
Okay, buddy.
So Wednesday nights after we would leave church, we leave normally right around 8:00, and they would stay there till 9 or 9:30 practicing.
Yeah, last Sunday, we had to call them and be like, "Okay, y'all, it's time to come home now. Baby, you can't have that over here, okay? Take it back over there.
We're doing a show, buddy. You gotta go back over there where you were.
Go to the couch, please.
Keep moving along. Thank you." Be careful. Just incredible. I can't say that enough, because when I look at the world and I look at the things that teenagers are involved in right now, goodness, this phone won't stop. So I see the struggle. I know the struggle, and to see them where they were this morning just gave me a bit of revival. It gave me understanding that things are still good and that there's still hope. I'm going to hurt that one. I've got a 3-year-old that's in the terrible threes, and he's pushing the limits right now. So you better be careful. Okay? Go sit down over there.
Thank you, buddy.
Such is life. Parenting 101. But what else did you get from this morning?
I don't know. I guess I was just encouraged to know that they're willing to let God use them.
Yeah.
Like, they know that they're young, but they know that God's willing to use young people too.
Right. So where were you from age 13 to 17?
Well, 13 to 17, I was in church. I grew up in church. I've always been in church. I'm a preacher's kid. But I wasn't like...
Can you help us, please?
Anyways, I wasn't like rebellious or anything. Maybe 17-ish I started getting that way, but I would not have ever been up on a stage.
Yeah, right.
In front of a whole church preaching or singing or playing an instrument. I did try once to play the piano at church, and it was an epic fail. I got so nervous and my hands got so sweaty, and it was just like, wow, never do that again. And I still haven't to this day.
Yeah. So some things that you don't know about Tiffany, when she gets nervous, her hands just pour sweat. And so, yeah, I can imagine. So I'm struggling with this little one here tonight.
Maybe okay.
But anyway, back to our show. You're messing with my concentration here, Bubba.
Just focus. I got him.
what was I saying? So where you were,
Mm-hmm.
I was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like there was a portion of time when I was 14. I went on a church trip, and it was only because I had some friends in that church, and they invited me to go. And so I went, I participated, but I wasn't all there. I was there to be able to run around Gatlinburg and just to have a trip away from home.
Right.
And then at 15, it was my birthday weekend. We went to St. Louis on a church trip. And again, I was not in the right place. Yeah, I went and I had a lot of influence in my life, but it didn't take. I didn't care. I was not in a good place. I was not in a good position. So it really kind of rolled through my life all the way until I was about 21, when I really started to hit the struggle and really started to run down a dark road. And so my life was completely opposite from Tiffany, because I wasn't a preacher's kid, and I wasn't the typical stereotypical preacher's kid either. So most of the time when I heard preacher's kid, that person knew where to find things. Yeah. That person knew where to go and what to get into.
Not that I'm proud of it, but I did go through those years. I was just a little older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and so, hey, chill for me. So we went through, the motions, and it wasn't until I was 22 years old that I had really been thinking back over my life and thinking, I was baptized at 9 years old, but I didn't really understand it. Yeah, they asked me questions. I gave the right answers. I got baptized. But, how many of us take a shower every day? There's no saving power in water. And I had to think back over my life and think, well, there was no change. There was nothing about my life that reflected the things of God. And I had the excuse. I had all the right words to say when I wanted something to give me an advantage, or there was something that I wanted to achieve. I could act the part. I could say the right words. I knew enough scripture to be dangerous, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't apply it to my life. And so when I was 22, the Holy Spirit changed my life. Mm-hmm. And just like my niece that gave her testimony at church this morning, talking about, there was a time in my life where I could look back and say, yeah, I did these things and I did these things and I looked the part and I acted the part, but I didn't live the part. Mm-hmm. And to see these teenagers in a place where, they've got some really hard situations around their lives, and they're pushing and trying to be who God wants them to be. They're trying to really live out their faith. Yeah. And, it tells me that all hope is not lost, that there is still hope for America. There's still a great opportunity for these kids. And just like my little guy here, constantly talking, constantly being in, moving and stuff. He's a distraction to me, and he may not be a distraction to you guys at all. But if we don't let them hear the conversations and we don't let them understand the difference in adult conversations and a difference in spiritual conversations that they need to be involved in, if we don't let them in, then what are we doing? Because like, he needs to know there's a right time and a wrong time to be seen. Mm-hmm. There's a right time to speak and a right time to listen. But many times we think, well, my kid is not perfect, so they don't need to be on that stage. Well, how many preachers, how many deacons need to be out of that pulpit and out of that church? If we don't give them the opportunity and allow them to push and stretch themselves, then where are they going to be? Where are they going to end up?
Right.
So that's my sermon for this evening.
You did great.
So yeah, it's a struggle, and sometimes, I've been to some churches where children should be seen and not heard, but I love the sound of babies in a church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they're crying. I don't care if they're giggling, if they're moving, if they're rustling paper, because there's adults doing the same thing. We don't say a word to them, but we want them to go to the nursery, or we want to take them out and put them into a class or something where they can just run around and play games for an hour. But they need to be in the service. They need to know how things work. They need to learn. But there's an opportunity for them to make a little bit of noise, cause a stirring, cause a rustle. But that's how they learn. We put them in better situations instead of just carting them off.
They actually hear more than you think.
Yeah, they do. They pay way more attention than we give them credit for. But it's just, I love the sound of babies in the church. We got to give more opportunity. I believe that there needs to be accountability, 100%. Because there's always a troll out there. There's always somebody out there that hears something. They're like, well, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Well, okay, fine. That may work for where you're at. But if we don't give our kids the opportunity and put them in a better position, then where are they going to end up? What are they going to do? Right?
Yep.
Because my wife said something this morning so profound, is that these kids made the effort to be on stage, and they struggle in some areas. We all do, but they were in there. To them, they sounded like a train wreck. To them, they messed up a lot. To them, they couldn't hit the right note or be on key or have the right beat, or they missed the notes on the guitar or the bass. But that doesn't matter. We all mess up.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes. But what you said was, even in their idea of their shortcomings and their mistakes on that stage, there are way worse places that they could be.
Yep.
And for us to give them the opportunity to be there and to be able to exercise their gifts and their talents, musically, emotionally, spiritually, then, we have to encourage that and give them the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
So, everybody that's going to watch this on the replay, we thank you. We've been all the way through this show, and now one person comes on.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining. The show is almost over. But it was a serious show talking about the Hope for America, the things that went on in church, the Youth Sunday, which will be portions of it will be available live next Sunday, because we post a week behind. So portions of it will be available next week on our Facebook page for the Refuge. All right, what else you got, Tiff? Close us out here.
So your teenagers, your youth, just encourage them in their strengths, encourage them in their weaknesses too. But
why is that? Are we quick to jump on the negative?
Well, yeah.
100%.
And
right?
they're quick to be offended.
Yeah.
So just try encouraging them a little
all
bit.
They hear all day long is, you could have done better. You could have done better. You failed. You messed this up. So if we're not encouraging them, where are they getting the encouragement from?
Their friends, but it's not
with
good.
Terrible information.
Yeah.
And terrible position. Right? So yes, encourage your youth. Encourage them to be better. Compliment them. I just issued this challenge. Compliment 5 people tomorrow. Instead of raking them over the coals about something they did wrong. Right? We all mess up.
Yeah, we do.
Compliment 5 people tomorrow and see how much better your day goes. See how you can brighten their day. Same thing with your kids, your grandkids, the youth. Encourage them. let them know that all hope is not lost. That somebody still cares enough to say, hey, I love your smile. You're doing a great job.
Yep.
Don't put in a but you could do better. You did great on this, but no, just leave it at encouragement.
Yep.
All right. So that's our show for the evening. Thank you for those of you that watch 5 seconds. What else you got? Is that it, Tim?
That's it.
That's it. She's short on words, but lovely on her heart, loving me. So precious to me. We thank y'all. Those of you that do watch on the replay, thanks for the feedback. Josh Byers, I know you're going to be watching. I know you're going to tell me something. You're going to send me a message. I look forward to it. Y'all have a great night. God bless you. We'll see you next time.